Right now it is 8:46 in the morning. I have been at this for about an hour and a half, and I just thought that it's time to just break it out and share it with you. Hey, it's Alze Calhoun with Coveted Consultant. This video is not going to be perfect. I'm literally holding the camera as I'm having this conversation with you. It's about 8:45 in the morning. I've been at this for about an hour and a half already, and I'm just gonna stop and share with you what I have because I think it's important for you to know. Here's the summary, is if you wanna create the company you wanna create, the company that's in your mind, you have to become a different person. Okay, so let me make that mechanical for you. So what I've been talking about for a number of videos here is this thing about the wall, right? So I have been talking about this wall dynamic, right? You start off as a job, right? Then you get your first couple of clients. You're a consultant, and you are the premier technical expert. That's the deal. You're a technical expert, right? And most of your clients come via referrals in that situation, right? That your colleagues, the people you worked around, are your core network. That's where your business comes from. Nothing wrong with that. Okay. Until you don't like it anymore. You want to grow beyond that. So back to the wall. So then you decide that you want to grow to this more like a company, right? Now, not some like 100-person, corporate thing, but you just need to be a little bit more growth and more stability than just you being the center of all the activity. You want to look more like a company, but that's not necessarily stodgy or corporate, but just more like a company. Okay? So now, here's what I'm saying to you, is that getting from here as a consultant to here as a company is fundamentally a different job description. Like, this is like doing CEO work. Like, I'm no longer just the expert of the day. I'm no longer a freelancer or a consultant for hire. I now run a company. And you got to think about that differently. So let's kind of go through some of that a bit more mechanically here. So the first thing you feel is you become owner of client acquisition, client service, and client retention. This wall that you've been feeling, right? How do I get from here to here? Is because these three systems are not clear enough. You need clarity here. And it becomes your job to own those systems. You've got to get them clear. You have to spell them out. You have to give them transparency, integrity, authority. This falls on you. You can't grow without it. Okay. Now, so breaking it down into kind of core jobs. In this new job description, here's job number one. The first job is to automate client service. Now, normally when we talk about automation and we talk about fancy software tools and you start getting real excited about technology. Automation is a concept, not a literal deliverable. So here's what I mean by that more honestly, is you document the process first. How you do client service, right? You document it first, then you delegate it to people, right? And then you can begin to automate it if automation is valuable. Sometimes software can get in the way, right? Okay. Why is that important? Because you need to feel confident that what you sell will get served. So as you bring on more clientele, because when you're up here, one of the blockages is not feeling like you can get enough clientele. Hey, if I get this new client, can I serve them? Will they be served well? Will I have to do all the work again? Blah, 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 blah. So you have to stabilize client service so that you can sell aggressively. So if you got 4, 5, 6 more, 20 more clients, you could take care of all of them. Without a automated or productized service model, then you can't sell the way you need to. So job number one is to automate client service. Now here's job number two. Job number two is to sell like crazy. So now you got to really bring on more clientele, right? 1 or 2 more clients won't do it. You got to really get yourself in a habit and a rhythm of generating new clientele. So here's something we don't talk about underneath that idea. When it was you, right over here as a consultant, Everybody came via referral. They knew you personally. They went to high school with you, went to college with you. You worked with them for 15 years. They knew you personally, right? So they knew you. Okay, so those jobs were easier to close because they already knew who you were. But when you get over here looking like a company, these people won't know you personally. They won't know you as well, not personally. So talking to them is different. Selling to them is different. And the only way you're going to be able to sell more consistently is if you have a new audience of people to sell to. You have to deliberately create a new audience of people. How do you do that? So right here, you sell like crazy, create a new community of people to buy from you via conversations. Conversations are your number one tool of creating this new community. If you're not talking to people, then you can't generate the new community. And we don't understand conversations well. We think conversation equals selling, or we think conversation equals networking. And I mean something in between. That's more intentional. It's more directed. It's more authoritative. It's a designed way of communicating with people. So you can continually add to this new clientele base, to this new prospect list. If you're not having enough conversations, you cannot do this and you cannot do this. So conversations are now a really important job that you now take on, helping you sell like crazy. This is your job. You can't duck it. It's your job. Okay. Now, here's some of the things we think we have to do. We think we're supposed to do in order to move on, to get over the wall. We think we have to do paid advertising and pay like thousands of dollars in paid advertising. No, you don't have to do that. Can you leverage them? Of course you can, but you don't have to do that. Do you have to create a traditional agency and, fill out RFPs and do that kind of stuff? No, you don't have to. You don't have to do that. Do you have to hire 100 people and get this huge office and, all these bodies and to do a bunch of heavy lifting? No, you don't have to do that. But these are the kind of things that we do when we hit the wall, and we spend thousands of dollars with making these kinds of decisions. We thought we had to do it. We thought that was the price we had to pay, and all it becomes is just simply uncomfortable. So you have a new job description, right? And your job description is to own. You now own acquisition, service, and retention. If they're not healthy, it's your fault. So how do you begin to move through that? You've got to automate client service first. First thing you got to do is get clarity. I would argue productize client service. Second thing is you've got to sell like crazy, meaning you've got to have more conversations. You've got to build a new network of people that are excited about buying what you sell, right? Okay. Now, what I'm describing is not new. What I'm describing is a classic business challenge, been around for a long time. And some people have already written about this concept. So you may have read E-Myth by Michael Gerber. I've read that book. It's a great book, by the way. You might have read Built to Sell by John Warrillow, I believe his name is. And there are many other books you may have written. You may have considered these masterminds. There's many of them, right? These masterminds, many of them, like Vistage or CEO Roundtable. Here's the thing though. These books are great conceptually. They make you really, really smart and they get you really, really fired up. But they don't give you an action plan for pulling this thing off. It's a lot harder than it sounds. So the theories sound good, but doing it is hard. It's challenging work. Now, you go to these masterminds and such. My personal frustration is that these conversations often lack an agenda. So it's smart people and they're sitting around a room, but there's no real sense of aggressive next steps. There's no real curriculum to follow or a step-by-step path to getting what you want. So you meet some people and you make some connections, but did you ever get this done? Did you ever make the shift from A to B? You answer that question, right? So I am trying my very best to dissect something that affects many of us. Many of us have had some initial success. We're known as a consultant amongst our audience and client base, etc. But we're trying to grow to a bigger clip, and we are running across this buzzsaw of things because it's many things happening at the same time. And I'm trying to unpack why it's so difficult, and I'm trying to unpack what you should be doing to move through it. Again, core idea, you have a different job description, and that's a new daily rhythm that you have to get yourself in. And one thing I've been thinking about here is this idea of mastering your mornings, because when you move to that CEO, that company level of thinking, you got to manage your time differently and manage your time better. And your morning ritual, what you do from about when you wake up to about noon is crucial to your growth and to your transition. So it's hard. But that's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. So hopefully this was helpful. Give me a comment if it was or it wasn't. I'll talk to you soon.